Someone had a Valorant hot take, and that wasn't me. It was Ye who said that he thinks that Valorant is at the point where you can have 2 agent bans, one for each side, each game, would help solve stalematas on some maps. Well, he surely got shot on for having and voicing such an unpopular opinion, right? Turns out, no, people agree with
Today's
him.
episode is
But let
sponsored
me
by
explain
Elgato.
why
Go
is
to
that wrong.
elgato.com for the newest hardware for streamers. Use the link from the description below and the code for 5% off. Thank you, Elgato, for sponsoring the stream.
I understand why people react positively to this, because people want to have agents that are broken banned, like Neon. People would like to ban that. Jet, people would like to ban that. Reyna, because they hate her. Like, that's valid reasons to think that way, but people don't like to think about consequences of their actions. And when agents could be banned, it will result in 2 things, in massive problems that are gonna expose not only pro teams but also pro players and also Riot. So let's talk about those 2 reasons, those 2 outcomes. If banning agents would actually happen, the first outcome would be exposing Riot's inferior map design. What do I mean by that? So let's take a look. There are 2 maps that I like to take a look at, actually 3, but let's talk about the first one, Ascent. Ascent has the most solved meta. It's the absolute worst map to watch because it's so just samey every single time, right? We have essentially, this is like the most meta composition that you will see at pro level in any team. Majority of the teams are just playing this because it's good, well-rounded, and it gives you everything that you need. And the map is very basic, has a lot of choke points, so you're not able to play without a jet. If you don't have a jet, then you don't really have a replacement how to play this map. So if teams are not able to play jet, this map becomes way slower. And this is extreme example because Ascent is very, let's say, unique in its primitiveness. But the same outcome could potentially then be applied to other choke pointy maps like Sunset or Split. And because of that, those maps will struggle with the solved meta because they will have to substitute with subpar choices. Because if we have Neon being banned, then our only other options would be Raze or Neon or Yoru, and none of them are actually capable of replicating one by one what the jet can do. You cannot just dash to a side, to a smoke that you created by yourself and play aggressively. You would have to combine that, and you also like, it's much easier to react to a Raze satcheling than to jet dashing. Yoru and Neon are also more readable and less agile than a jet. So that creates a problem. Teams would have to adapt on the fly what to do with this composition. Now we can't play the most needed agent on the map. And you're gonna say, well, yeah, but there are still duelists, yeah? But now let's think about a different map. Let's go to Breeze. And I don't even have Breeze here. Well, actually, show all maps. Here we go. So let's go to Breeze. Breeze, we know who's at home here. That's Viper. And now let's say Viper is being banned. That's one ban. So people have to choose Harbor because that's the only one that actually delivers similar kind of utility. But it's definitely not the same. You don't have the same stopping power. You don't have the same kind of freedom of being a little bit more flexible with how you put your smokes, how you put your walls, because you are telegraphing where you are when you are Harbor. Harbor cannot be a lurker as well. It's completely different roles. Its only similarity is that the fact that he has a wall as well, and that's it. So now, when this map is gonna get like 2 bans, what if 2 teams ban Viper and Harbor? The entirety of Breeze is being exposed as not a good map because we cannot have agents that are gonna wall off A side. So now how do we even attack A side? We're gonna have to play 2 controllers with normal smokes and just spam like 4 smokes on the entrance of A, otherwise it's not gonna be able to replicate what we needed with the wall. So all of those problems on every single map would be focused on and exposed into the broad daylight because the maps are designed with agents in mind. You cannot just play a map and expect the map to be different just because an agent doesn't exist. Maps like Ascent, maps like Breeze were all designed, every single map, were all designed with all the agents in mind. And some of the agents were gonna perform better in those maps, some will perform worse. But a ban on each map would result on cutting away those most useful agents on those maps away from the teams. And that's a big problem, because then we're not able to play the maps the way the developers envisioned it. Now let's talk about the second problem that I think is even bigger than the maps themselves, because this will result in a lower level quality of professional teams that would literally devolve. Once we get the idea that we can ban agents, every single team is gonna stop innovating. Every single team will not have an incentive to figure something out, because it can be taken away from them. What's the point of sacrificing hours, countless hours of your assistant coach, of your head coach, of your analyst, and then transferring all that game knowledge and figuring out what to do to your players, where the entire plan can crumble because you just banned Fade, for example, and everything was revolving around Fade, and you cannot now do your playbook because the playbook is being built with agents in mind. Just like the developers design a map with agents in mind, that's how pro teams play. They do think about the composition, how they can use it on a map because of that, and they build the playbooks, they build executes, they build the way that they want to play the game. And if you take away one chess puzzle from that equation, then the entire plan just crumbles. So I will tell you right now that not a single team that puts the effort into figuring stuff out, into creating new metas, into checking out new agents, building with them new stuff, none of that will be happening. Because no one would like to sacrifice time on something that can be easily taken away from, and all of the gameplay would just devolve into regress even into just the most basic and primitive way of playing the game for yourself, because you're not gonna try to do complicated strategies that can be completely negated. Hours of work can be completely negated because suddenly you don't have a jet, because suddenly you can play a breach, because suddenly you made a great composition of some insane synergies between Fade, Yoru, and Omen, and now Yoru or Fade is banned, and you don't have that crucial piece of puzzle to actually make this work. None of that would be happening. None of this will be ever happening if we get ever bans. I had my opinion that bans will probably come around when we're gonna have 40 agents, but the longer I play the game and the more I watch pro play, the more I come to the conclusion that banning agents is not the way to go. Agents need to be balanced. And we're actually very close to being a balanced game. For the majority of the life of the game, actually, developers were learning, players were learning. And sometimes there's a moment when, you know, the one agent is a little bit above or a lot above others, but they get him back. You know, they nerf that agent, and Valorant is pretty balanced game in my eyes. Right now, of course, I agree Neon should be nerfed, but overall, it's not terrible. Game is playable. No one feels like it's an absolutely disgusting, some meta slaves playing the game and you cannot really do anything else, at least in ranked. So I do think that banning agents is a terrible decision to make. In the same gist of what I just explained with pro teams, right? It's gonna apply to players themselves. So what I mean by that is, let's say you have a Jet 1 trick that sacrifices 4,000 hours to master the game on Jet, and then he plays in a semi-professional team or a professional team, and he cannot showcase what he learned in those 4,000 hours, right? Because Jet is gonna get banned, because people will know, oh, we can allow him to play Jet because that's his best performing agent. And now he will need to adjust and train 2 agents or 3 agents in the same amount of time, which results in worse quality. People will not be able to master agents because those agents will get just taken away. Let's say I'm a Sova player who sacrificed countless hours to make lineups for every single map. But now I'm not able to play the Sova, and if I want to play, let's say, a substitute for him, Fade, well, then I have to create completely new lineups for every single map. So maybe I wanted to play Sova on 3 maps and Fade on 4 maps, but now I have to play Sova on 7 maps and Fade on 7 maps, so it doubles my amount of work that I need to put into the game to actually be at a similar level. Getting bans into the game will result in lower level quality, even in ranked. I would personally love to ban Reyna every single game, because I just absolutely despise the character, and I think it actively makes the game works with Reyna in the agent select. But I'm not willing to sacrifice what we will lose if we get bans into the game. It's a band-aid solution that will result in festering wounds over time. And I mean this in very non-hot take way. I hope that people will not shit on me for this opinion, because it is based in logic, and I hope that people who are playing this game will see that not every single thing that pro players say is right. Think critically, think about the consequences of your actions, think about what would happen if you allow something new to just go into the game. People need to start thinking about what is the result, the action, and the result of the action. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe you would like to see me do a video about which agents should get nerfed, which agents should be buffed, and with what exactly. If that's something that you would like to hear, let me know in the comments. If you would like to ask me a question and get a live answer, you will find me on Twitch live almost daily. Twitch.tv/Lotharhs. You have a link in the description. Just comment, ask me anything, and I'll definitely answer. Bye bye.